Hello, it's Suzanne Doyle-Ingram with you here, and I'm making a video for you today on how to write that book, what you can do to make sure you get your book written. And the first thing I want to talk about is give yourself a deadline. If you have a deadline for yourself, I don't know, if you're anything like me, you're going to want to have a deadline to put a little bit of pressure on yourself to getting your book written. Okay, so make a deadline and be specific. Make sure that you write down what your deadline is and what you're going to get as a treat or something special when you hit your deadline. And I know it seems silly and juvenile and childish, but it works for me if I know I get certain things done on time, that I get to go have a pedicure at the spa. Now, maybe for a guy that's not so exciting, maybe you get to go fishing or something, I don't know, but be specific about your deadlines and about what's going to happen when you hit your deadlines. And the other thing is, don't beat yourself up if you don't make your deadline. Life happens. You know, for those of us that have kids or parents that we take care of or other people in our life that need us, don't we all? There's going to be things that come up. You can always adjust your deadline. I just want you to really catch yourself. If you're continually adjusting your deadline, then maybe you got a little bit of a procrastination problem on your hands. But don't beat yourself up if you have to adjust your deadline. That's okay. It's not that big of a deal. Now, as for deadline variations, some of my students have told me that they find it's too much pressure to have a deadline when the whole book needs to be finished. And so what you can do is give yourself a deadline for chapters being finished by a certain date. And what you're really doing when you do that is chunking it into smaller pieces so that it's not so overwhelming. All right, so you can do deadlines for chapters. You can do deadlines for a certain number of words. You know, it's up to you how you work best, but know that you don't have to set a deadline for the whole entire book. It can just be sections of the book. Okay. Another thing that I did once was I got the cover made for one of my books right away, and then I felt pressure to actually write the book faster because I knew the cover was already ready to be uploaded to Amazon. So that was one thing that I did that worked really well for me. And lastly, I want to just say, write every day. Start your day by writing. If the first thing you do when you get to your desk is you don't answer the phone, you don't look at emails, and you write for 30 minutes, an hour if you can, but just write for at least 30 minutes. Your email's not going anywhere. No one will die if you don't check your email for an hour. Same goes for your phone and Facebook and Twitter and everything else. If you know that you have gotten 30 minutes of writing done first thing in the morning, and then you go on to do your other things, you're going to feel so good about yourself. The opposite is true as well. If it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you're running around with your kids and all your obligations, or maybe your volunteer work, you're trying to figure out what to make for dinner, and you feel like crap because you know you haven't done any writing today. Believe me, I know how that feels. So start your day by writing, even if you have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning before the whole family gets up, write for 30 minutes. You'll be so glad you did. For more training, my website at suzannedoyle-ingram.com.